Plenty of filmmakers, YouTubers, and most people here at Vice News love the drone shot.
Alrighty, turn it on.
Take off.
For Brent Walls, these remarkable tools have nothing to do with aesthetics. Walls works for an environmental nonprofit that protects thousands of miles of river watershed. A task that is made much easier by the ability to keep watch from above and collect hundreds of samples from afar.
I've been a Riverkeeper with Potomac Riverkeeper Network for 12 years, and I have been a Riverkeeper overall for about 20 years.
The organization is part of an ever-expanding invisible army of tech-savvy environmental watchmen who monitor air and water quality violations.
Now I can actually collect a sample.
The kind of stuff that adds up over time to leave millions of people with chronic health conditions. And the kind of stuff government regulators often miss, ignore, or outright avoid. Given recent legal and legislative attacks on the government's ability to regulate much of anything when it comes to the environment, the work of people like Walls is becoming increasingly urgent.
We utilize all the tools that we possibly can to investigate pollution and bring polluters to justice. The Clean Water Act was supposed to have all pollution eliminated by 1985. Well, we are far from it. We are slowly ratcheting down on that. We are policing the police, essentially. We have to hold them accountable as we hold industry accountable for what pollution they create. And now we have a turkey vulture munching on some roadkill here. Nice. There's a lot of interest when I am out in the field, but I am prepared for two sides of the coin. One side is very helpful, interested, so glad that I'm doing what I'm doing. But then I've also had the other side where I'm hurting the economy, I'm threatening the jobs of the good people of the area, things like that. So we are headed to a Gob Pile. That sounds kind of funny, but what this Gob Pile is layers of dirty coal, and coal has other metals in it like arsenic and lead and copper and manganese. Those metals leach out from this Gob Pile and is collected into these stormwater ponds below it. So what we're doing is we're looking at these stormwater ponds, whether or not they are actually overflowing their discharge ports. So off to the right here is going to be our Gob Pile. And right there, with windmills in the background. The state regulatory agencies aren't looking at this site just because of staffing. They have thousands of permits that they have to investigate. So unless they get a report from us or from a citizen that there is problems, they're not really going to investigate. And so that's why we're investigating. That's why we're trying to gather evidence. One, either push the state to do their job, or two, push the company to fix the problem. This one looks like it has a lot of pipes that are draining this pond and putting it over the earthen dam and into the stream, which means it might be being pumped. That is a violation. Oh man, this is so frustrating. On a daily basis, the state has the right $10,800 a day for violations. I've got a lot of work to do now. Contacting the state, trying to get their butts, which in fact I might actually do right now.
We're using an optical gas imaging camera We're going to start it up. It takes about 15 minutes to cool down. It has a condenser built in that's able to detect the methane and other hydrocarbon emissions.
Kyle Farrar's job is also to monitor potential environmental rule breakers. But instead of checking water from the sky, he captures air quality from the ground by seeking out the aging oil and gas infrastructure tucked in neighborhoods across the Los Angeles area.
So this is our first site. We're finding leaks, we're identifying where there's violations, and then we're telling the regulators, and hopefully maybe shut some of these sites down too, because a lot of them are bad actors. To actually see the leaks, we're using this really cool new technology called Optical Gas Imaging. It's an infrared camera. It is able to show benzene and methane as if it's a cloud being released from these sites, stuff you can't see with the naked eye. We're really focusing on neighborhood drilling sites. We are really concerned with the exposures of children at schools, communities, to these carcinogens and other toxic chemicals. These leaks that people know occur and are present, and people have been experiencing real health impacts. When they're able to see the footage of it being released, it's really validating. But in addition to that, it's something that we can provide to local regulators and say, the leak is coming from right here. The community's been complaining about it for this amount of time and you've missed it. And this is where it is. And instead of just going site by site, we're trying to build bigger campaigns using a lot of the media, leaks that we identify throughout the city of LA, throughout the state of California for this trip. Bring it all together into a large campaign, show that there are systemic issues with oil and gas extraction here. One of the big problems is that the regulators, they really tend to stick in the big oil fields. It's easy to inspect a lot of wells and get the numbers way up. They rely on industry reporting a lot, way too much. If self-reported inspections don't find something several years in a row, they get to reduce the number of self-inspections they give themselves. So it incentivizes not reporting leaks and spills and things of that nature.
Whatever companies have to say about how bad their own pollution is, the rest of us are drinking water and breathing air that continues to be contaminated. And the decentralized environmental snitch army is searching for ways to fight back.
I'm Michael Learmonth, editor-in-chief of Vice News. Too often, traditional news outlets shy away from the real stories and experiences of those living through global conflicts. Not Vice News. Our reporters are on the ground, fearlessly covering the human stories that shape our world. You and millions of others can continue to read, watch, and listen to Vice News for free. But we hope you'll consider making a one-time or ongoing contribution of any size at vice.com/contribute. Every contribution, no matter how big or small, helps support the journalism Vice News brings to you every day. Thank you.